I finished the main storyline of Assassin's Creed Shadows and I've played over 90 hours so far, so I'm going to walk you through how the hideout works, what's best to unlock early, mid and late game, and share lots of tips and tricks with you on how you can get the most out of it, because honestly, it's a little bit of a challenge to actually get your head around to understand what's beneficial and what isn't. No spoilers in this video, of course, and just Ubisoft for the review code so I can get this video out to you as swiftly as I could. Now let's start with some of the basics so we're all on the same page. The hideout unlocks after you play through the prologue as Naoe, and then you can engage with it before you do unlock Yasuke. But if you want to push it to the max level of 10 and benefit from all of the gameplay bonuses it does offer you, I would recommend unlocking Yasuke first before heavily investing in upgrades. But let's say you've gone ahead and done that, Yasuke is available to play. How do you then get this hideout to max level, and what order should you unlock each building in and upgrade them in? Well, first of all, there are 15 unique buildings in total, with 10 of them providing us with a tangible gameplay buff after constructing them, which we will focus on your screen here. And the first 5 in this list are the most important ones, and they are called main rooms, which are essential and can only be built once. Those are the stables, the kakurega, the forge, the study, and the dojo, with the hiroma as the default central structure you kind of start with. It's quite similar to the main base area or the longhouse in Valhalla if you played or remember that. Each of these 5 rooms do need to be upgraded though to level 3, with each level offering different gameplay perks or bonuses for doing so as an incentive. Of course, the other 5 buildings that will give us some juicy buffs, and now they are called the themed rooms, and there are 9 in total. Now these first 5, which I am going to highlight here for you as well, are non-essentials basically, and what I mean by that is they offer useful secondary gameplay bonuses which aren't a priority, and they also don't require any upgrades, so they don't get upgraded to level 3, they just stay at level 1. And these include the Terra, the Jinja, the Nando, the Zashiki. It took me about 6 times to record that, by the way, and the tea room, and we will go through which ones are best shortly. Now as for the other 4 themed rooms, they're what you can use to display cosmetics, your armor sets, your weapons, and they can be built multiple times over, and there's no restrictions or levels on them. But to reach that hideout level of 10, you need to build 9 themed rooms in total and max out all of those 5 main rooms to level 3. And to do that, you need a total of 11,000 crops, 8,500 wood, 3,000 minerals, and around 16,000 mon. I'll put the exact figure on your screen, which does sound like a lot. But when it is broken down, that's kind of, well, it's the equivalent of approximately 20 to 25 supply contracts or castle raids, with those smuggled resources returning to your hideout at the end of the season, give or take. So now we know what we need to get in this game to get this hideout to level 10. What order should we build all of these buildings in? Well, firstly, in the early game, we want to focus on building a solid foundation for resource gathering and smuggling, and this is going to help speed up that grind straight away. It's going to make this whole thing a lot quicker and easier. So the first thing we want to do is upgrade the stables from rank 1 to 2, and this means that when you do raid bandit camps or castles and you find those pallets of resources in their warehouses, it's only going to cost you 1 scout to then smuggle them back to your hideout instead of the previous 2, which is basically doubling your return for the same amount of effort, or what we like to call here in the UK as double a bubble. Now, you're going to be able to see what's been smuggled and how many scouts are currently in use on their smuggling run on this part of your map here. And just as a heads up, the scouts, they do refresh every hour and 10 minutes in all of the seasons, apart from winter, which takes a little longer with an hour and 30 timer. And you can track this timer in real time by looking at your compass. So when it kind of fills up halfway, that mid-season cutscene will play, and then everything on the map, including your scouts, will refresh. When the compass is then full, that's when you're going to get a full season change, and the scouts and everything else is going to refresh again there. So next building we want to move on to is the study, which is another main room, and this gives you an extra scout on your map, which means more resources can be smuggled at the end of the season, which means you can build stuff a lot quicker. Now after that, complete the forge quest Tomoko gives you once the hideout is unlocked, of course, and that's going to unlock the forge building and the transmog menus, so you can change your gear and visuals without affecting stats, and you can then do that in your inventory menu at any time throughout the game, which is a great quality of life feature. And then if you haven't unlocked Yasuke yet, go and do it, because without him you can't build the Terra building, which gives you a 10% XP boost. So if you are exploring the world out with Naoe right now, I would really highly recommend that you stop doing that and just complete the couple quests, the Shinbaku quests on your objective board, unlock Yasuke, and then build that Terra building, because you're missing out on free experience every second it's not there in your hideout. And when it all comes to this compound interest or XP game rules, you know, the longer you have it, the more you're going to accumulate over time. I think if you put it early on in the game, you're going to save yourself like 6 levels. So it's definitely worth just getting that installed straight away. And finally, once you've smuggled enough resources from the 2 castles, or if you've completed 2 contract missions early on in the game, you can then upgrade the stables to rank 3, and that's going to boost all of your resource smuggling by an additional 20%, which is again huge for speeding up this hideout mechanic and future upgrades. So worth doing for sure. Now, quick tip here: do not fast travel back to the hideout if you kind of thinking, oh, I've got enough resources, I'll go back and check. There's no need to do that. Just open up your objective board and hover over each building to see what you need versus kind of what's on the way at the end of that season refresh from smuggling. Also, when you do fast travel back to your hideout, just run left of the stables and then just hop over the wall, and that's going to get you into that build mode or menu a lot quicker than just going or running through the garden into the Hiroma, your main building, and then using the model in the left hand corner. And I'd also recommend just placing the forge near the stables. I'm going to show you an example on your screen here, and that just makes upgrading gear way quicker. Even though it's just moving it to a specific place on your hideout, you're going to be fast traveling back, you're going to be engraving, upgrading, changing your gear a lot throughout the 100 hours you spend in this game, and all that time spent just running back and forth is just going to save you time. It's all going to add up. So just put the forge there, you can fast travel back, hop the wall, happy days. Now, with all of these upgrades done, you're then going to have a hideout of level 4, and then from here your scouts will now be able to bring back more mon and extra resources at the end of the season, even if they're not actively smuggling, and that's thanks to this level 4 upgrade in the hideout. So in total, to get all of these early game buildings, you're going to need 1,260 crops, 930 wood, 310 minerals, and 1,930 mon. So that's going to give us our rank 3 stables, our rank 1 study, our rank 1 forge, and that Terra building all in place for the early game. But what should we prioritize next for the mid game? Well, I'm going to walk you through that in just a second, of course, but if you've learned something new or you've got any value from the video so far, please do leave a very swift like down below. I do very much appreciate it. And I actually just want to take this second just to thank Troy for tipping me a couple dollars in the last Shadows video. I really do appreciate it, man. These videos take absolutely ages to make, so every penny counts. Thank you very much. Now, firstly, let's get that forge upgraded to level 2, because this means that not only can you upgrade your gear to match your current level, so improving its performance, but you can also equip small perk bonuses called engravings into that gear piece that aren't legendary, which you will find in chests. You're going to buy them from merchants and also earn from quests and investigations. Now, these give you your gear extra bonuses, which are incredibly impactful. In fact, your epic or your purple gear socketed with some of these engravings actually do outclass your standard legendary gear in terms of output or performance. So the earlier that you can start customizing your gear with these perks, the more effective your combat or stealth is going to be. And then following that, we want to upgrade the study to rank 2, and then follow that up again with a rank 3 upgrade, as it's going to give you 2 more scouts to increase that resource smuggling game when you're on those castles and bandit camps, which is of course a no-brainer. And then we want to unlock the dojo, and to do that you will need to complete the Yaya quest in the league section of your objective board if you haven't already done so, as this will then allow you to equip Yaya as an ally. But also, as you move into the mid game, you will come across new ally storylines which aren't available early on, and I will have a breakdown video on which ones are the best and how to kind of recruit them very soon. So do subscribe if you haven't already done so, as I know that's going to shed some light on a quite complicated game mechanic there for you. I've seen a lot of you with a lot of questions about that. That's coming soon. Anyway, after you've unlocked the dojo and you have Yaya equipped as an ally, I'd recommend building the Nando, as this will allow you to reduce the cost of replenishing scouts in your Kakuregas, meaning after you've used up all of your scouts to smuggle, you can then just go back to the Kakuregas and pay 140 mon instead of 200 to then get a fresh batch of scouts to then smuggle more. So double bubble strikes again. We're loving it. That's great. It's a good upgrade. Now, following the Nando, the next most impactful buildings I would recommend that you get is the tea room, which you unlock through the tea bowls quest for Rikyu in Yamashiro, located here on your map. Excuse the pronunciation, by the way. It's work in progress, but that's going to grant you a 20% health bonus when eating a ration, and all you have to do is purchase 1 tea bowl for 125 mon and then just bring it back to Rikyu, and that will then unlock the room. You don't need to finish the quest, but if you do, Rikyu will then join the league as an additional scout, so it's just worth an extra 10 minutes in doing so. Next up, the Zashiki room, which also gives you a 20% health ration buff, and you unlock this one by dealing with the first target during the Iron Hand Guild investigation in Setsu, which begins at this location on your map here. So that's the building after the team room that I would recommend you get. So 40% boost there. It's going to really help you out if you're playing on harder difficulties. So in total, to get all of these mid-game buildings, you're going to need 3,000 crops, 2,500 wood, 1,000 minerals, and 3,500 give or take mon, which you can get by completing 5 supply contracts at your local Kakarega, or just by clearing or smuggling from 5 high wealth castles, just as an approximation there. And that should then take us to a level hideout of 7, which means we can now refill health and adrenaline in the Kakarega safe houses and at the hideout as a bonus, which is actually pretty good when you just fast travel back and replenish. But now we've moved on, well, we're moving on from the mid game here into the late game. Which buildings should we focus on, and how do we get to that level 10? Well, by now you should have unlocked a few allies and have a good handle on who you like or who you don't like to use. So what we want to do is go ahead and upgrade the dojo from rank 2 to rank 3. And this allows us to equip 2 allies at once and also upgrade them to rank 3 as well, to veteran rank, which unlocks improved skills and more outfit customization options for them if you're that way inclined. I then recommend building a gallery, because at this stage in the game you should have also a pretty good sense on how different gear pieces and perks and combos all kind of melt together and let you play in a specific way. And the gallery lets you create custom loadouts directly in your inventory, so you can have a stealth build for Naoe, and then you can just quickly switch to a combat one depending upon the situation or how you just want to play for that kind of evening's game session. And then after that, I would then recommend that you want to upgrade the Kakarega to rank 3. And the reason why I'd say that, or why we've held off on doing this for so long, is because rank 2 only gives you collectible markers on your map and lets you clear wanted alerts, which isn't as impactful early game compared to the other buildings. And then rank 3 adds more Kakaregas and just drops the unlock cost of those Kakaregas by 30%. So now you don't have to pay 800 mon, but only 565, which isn't a bad price at all. But again, it's not as impactful as all of the previous upgrades that we've gone through. And finally, the Ginger. And if you know how to pronounce that correctly, please let me know phonetically down below in the comments. And you unlock this by praying at any of the large shrines around the map marked by a temple icon, which I will highlight here for you. And that equates to a knowledge point, of course. Now, once you've done that, this building gives you a 15-minute improved miner buff that is random when you pray at a shrine around the world. In fact, you can test it by just heading behind the waterfall in your hideout and praying at the altar. You also get an achievement for that, by the way. But to be honest with you, none of the buffs are that strong or beneficial, having tested them all myself. So this one's definitely at the bottom of the list for now, unless we get kind of a patch upgrade, which then turns this damage buff into something exceptional, but I just can't see that coming. Also, I nearly forgot, finally upgrade that forge from level 2 to level 3 at the end, so you can upgrade your gear to level 60 and then start putting legendary engravings into your gear. Again, that's towards the end of this kind of list for me, because this is late game and then you should be nearing that level 60, and that's when you kind of want to get this sorted. Otherwise it's just kind of wasted money. Now, to build everything that we've just kind of gone through here, you'll need 4,500 crops, 3,500 wood, 1,000 minerals, and around 3,000 mon. And you can grind that out by completing 6 high wealth castles or bandit camps, or you can just knock out 5 supply contracts across any of the 9 provinces that you should have unlocked by now. But even then, we'll only be at level 9 for this hideout. So to hit a max level of 10, you need to build 3 more galleries, which is the cheapest themed room available. That's why I'm recommending it here, and that's what gives you enough XP to push the hideout to its final level, at which point your scouts will start bringing back crafting materials when they're smuggling as well, so you can upgrade your legendary weapons without having to dismantle all your gear, which early to mid game, by the way, I'd recommend you don't do that. Just sell it for mon. It's way more beneficial, because those crafting materials will only really work when you kind of get up into the late game towards level 60. And just as another heads up, if you destroy any buildings after you do hit level 10, the game is going to de-level you. So even if you've got more space to build something else, you still need to maintain that total number of rooms if you want to keep those gameplay bonuses. So going from level 10 to 9, yep, you're going to lose that extra material bonus from those scouts. But what about customization then? What else can you actually do in this hideout? Well, you can actually connect a lot of your buildings together using small, medium, and large rooms if you want to, or you can just have them as standalone buildings in your hideout. And to get them, you need to purchase them from the ornament vendors, which is the small room coming from a vendor in Setsu, if I remember correctly. I'm going to pop him on your map for you. The medium room is found in Yamashiro, which I think is currently bugged at the moment. And then the large room is available from the vendor in Yamato, which I will show and pop on your screen here again as well, just in case you want to take a screenshot for later use. Now, you'll know you're going to be able to connect these buildings together when you see a small glow appear next to the neighboring building while you're in build mode. If I just zoom in here for you, but just note that the stables, the forge, the dojo, and the tea room can't be connected. So don't worry if you're wondering why nothing pops up or if there's a bug here. They are intended to be separate and not connected to any other building. Now, as for cosmetics, there's trees, you've got statues, lanterns, banners, you've got fences, rocks, pathways, you've got wall displays and paintings, and most of these are again purchasable at those same ornament vendors I just showed you, but a bunch of others can be, or cosmetics I mean, can be earned through side quests, petting animals, or completing those Sumi-e paintings, or those events that you just randomly come across when you explore. There's also a cap of 30 pets allowed, or animals that can be spawned into your hideout, by the way. So unfortunately you cannot spawn in 100 cats, but maybe if we petition the developers enough, we may be able to see that happen. I'd also recommend checking out the customization menu by clicking on each building and then just choosing this icon here, which then lets you change the internal layout of most of these buildings. As you can kind of see me move stuff around here, and that means that you can then just place different ornaments wherever you want, or that may be gear sets, it may be weapons, or just loads of different teacups that you really like. So there is a lot of customization here, to be fair, and it's just a bit of a shame that you can't really interact with anything inside of them or any of these things that you place in these stations. But again, perhaps we'll be able to get some sort of kind of actual interaction with the stuff that we place down inside our buildings in the future. Now, I've got even more tips and tricks for you, and if you've watched this video this far, I think you're going to find them very useful as well. So click the video on your screen right now, and hopefully I will see you there in just a second. Big thanks to Nika and Jack and Donut for all of their amazing help with me in early access to get this video out to you. Sake is on them, I think, and I will see you in that next video in just a moment.